Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I feel like you still have to talk through the steps on Zoom. This is what I'm gonna do next.
Yes.
Okay, so this, I'm sure, Lindsay, this is a lot more than what you see through your side, since I know I gave you access for the CRM piece only. So we'll navigate over to our CRM side here. And what I'm going to do is just dive right into the create the campaign. So what we want to do, let me back up a moment and look at I've got my instructions pulled up that Courtney gave me. So what you always want to do before you jump into creating a campaign is you want to have the distribution lists ready. So if we go here to our select a list and we look at these email lists, anytime we run a list, we want to make sure that we're using the most recent list and we want to title them. So I'm not sure these lists, what they correlate to. Because the latest list we have here is dated for the 12th of January, we can go ahead and run a new list now so you have it. I think that will be the best first step, and then we'll name that list. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is back up so we create that list first. So if I'm looking here, so we start with our directory, we're going to go down to our member type. And we're going to select Chapter Life, Collegiate, Corporate Life, Firm Rep, Honorary Life, which that encapsulates Lori G, so that makes sure she receives communications, our individual member, and our EWI partner vendor captures Tamara, who is our accountant, captures Bonnie, who does all of our graphic design, and then also captures Dennis, who is our legal counsel. We'll include staff. We don't have any staff at the moment. Our student members, our sustaining members, our transitional members, and last but not least, our virtual members. So those are all the member types that you want to include when you're running a report.
Can you run right back up to the very top, just scroll back down? So I started to write it, but I thought it probably just makes sense by reading it anyway.
Sure. So we have Chapter Life, Collegiate, Corporate Life, Firm Representative, Honorary Life, Individual Member, EWI partner and vendor, staff, student member, chapter sustaining member, transitional status, and virtual member. So those are the member types you'll always want to select. After we make these selections of member types, we're going to scroll all the way down and go to our search function. Okay. So now that we have our results, we're going to navigate up to results options, click the drop down, and we're going to go to create email list. And this is where we'll name the list with today's date. And Courtney gave me the naming convention that we want to name these as, so we have the most current.
So how often do we have to do this part?
I would say so I know that you are going to distribute the Connect every couple of months. If there's a list that is older than 2 weeks, I would run a new list. I think at the rate that Vicki is processing new members, I think after a couple of weeks, the list is likely changed, and we want to make sure that we're hitting those new members.
Okay, that makes sense. So this is making sure that everybody is able to receive it. And if they've come on board and we're not using a current list, they're not going to get it.
Exactly. Yep. So we're always gaining members and we're losing members. So we want to make sure that we have the most current list. And here where it says untitled list, I can edit the name. So here is where I'm going to use the naming convention active membership as of 1/24/23. So this is our active member list. So we're going to save that title. And we'll see here, this list has 1,112 recipients. We're only emailing 1,085 people. The reason for that is because some members opt out of the communications. So
Wow.
we're losing people who opted out of these mass communications from the organization, and that's okay. It is what it is. Let's see, from here, lost where I am. So we've got our list. Okay, select an email category. So what's going to happen now is all of these results are going to get pulled into automatically the list from which we will associate that list with the Connect. And if we save it as a draft, which I know we will, so you can continue to work on it, the list will still be there and attached to the Connect. You won't have to repull the list, which is a good thing. So our email category is going to be our EWI Connect newsletters /newsflash. And then from there, we are, oh, yep, there we go. It's thinking. YM has been a little slow this week. Yeah. Okay, well, it acted like something was going to happen. Maybe not. So, yeah, we should have had, oh, I'm sorry. It was covered up by our gallery view. So list options on the far right, we are going to click start an email campaign. Then it will take us to where there we go. Now we're on the right path. So the campaign name you will want to edit first while it's fresh and here at the top. So we can call this EWI Corporate Connect January 2023. Does that sound good? Anything else we should add, change?
Nope,
Okay.
looks good.
Okay, I'm going to save that for us. So here we need to make sure we update each of these tabs. So our list is going to be that active member list we just pulled as of today's date. Our email category is going to be that Connect newsletter /newsflash. So we have our recipients. This tab now is complete. So now we're going to move to the from. I need to see how I can update this one, but we're always going to want to select EWI as the from email address that communication is being sent from. And our subject, it can be the same as our campaign name to make it easy. This is what members will see when they receive the email. And we don't have to put any preview text. The preview text could be just that preview that shows up when you see the email in your inbox. Some people can see it, some people can't, depending on how their settings are. But we don't have to add any preview text, and typically I haven't. So we've got our subject name, now our design. So we have a pre-built template for the Connect. It still has stock photos and things like that we're going to have to update, but the template, the layout itself will align with what we need to do. So we have here our newsletter template. Now this template here, Kathy, is this one that you've created? And if so, that's fine.
I had heard created based on what we were trying to do. And I asked her to go in and put, and it was just like the format you did, you know, it looked clean, just the way that went down, easy to to look at, and
Okay.
I asked her to put read more buttons on, and I haven't went in to see that if she did that.
So do you want to move forward with this one or use the newsletter template? I don't know if she's added anything in here. I guess we can preview it and
We can
see.
look and see.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because what my thoughts were is that when you open it up, if
Very
you
nice.
if you have a picture and then you have some writing on there, they start reading your article and then they got to hit the button, click to read more.
Yep.
And that way it doesn't, like, if you open it and you're seeing a lot of verbiage on there, you're like, oh, I'll have to read this later, And so
Yes.
just to get them to click and to, entice them.
Get the tab
Right.
open.
Yes. So this actually makes your jobs a lot easier. I did not have this template when I made my little connect, my little one pager connect in October. So this is a huge advancement, advantage, I should say, that you both have in the creation here, because you already have the stock photos have already been removed. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, that's a great thing. If we preview this one, this is typically what I start from. So you see the logo, we'd have to change the heading at the top. You'd have to get rid of this image. You'd have to reconfigure the colors in all of this because it's not an EWI branding. So Bonnie definitely gave you a leg up with this one. So I would say, yes, let's move forward with this template, since we've already got the branding established. Let's see here.
Oh, that is
So,
awesome.
Yeah, she really gave you guys a leg up here, so that's great. I'm going to move our video around a little bit so you can see what I'm doing on the right-hand side. And she's already got, wow, yeah, she already did a lot for you all. The Navy, the aerial formatting, so that's great. So what date are you planning to send this out, Kathy?
You know what? I don't know exactly. I mean, it depends how far we can get on this. But it's got to be in January because we're calling it our January edition.
So I will just put this here for now as a placeholder, January 2023. I'll save that for you. Oh, that's small.
Okay.
It's 18 font. Courtney's recommendation was 18 font header. Now that I think we can play with this. It doesn't have to be just 18 font. That looks better. Okay. Let's see here. So my goal in the time that we have together tonight is to give you kind of the basic lay of the land, to show you how to manipulate things. And I will caution you as you work on this, there is no undo button. So keep that in mind.
That's scary.
Yeah, there's
How can that be?
there's no undo button. Once you delete something, it is gone. The little one pager connect that I made in October took me about 2.5 hours to do. So just an estimate of
Wow.
time. I didn't have all of this in place already though. I didn't have the branding. I didn't have the header image. So yeah, FYI on the time of that, it's now I can whip them out. I can whip those announcements out in like 15 minutes. It's once you use the muscle enough, it becomes easier. But yes, first and foremost, no, there is no undo button. So if I were to trash this header here with this icon, I wouldn't be able to get it back. I mean, I can build it back, but I can't recall it the way that it was. So just be very careful. We can copy things. So this icon is to be able to copy, like if we wanted to duplicate this section here, we can duplicate it and move it around. The movability of these pieces, so I'll give you an example. I will copy this piece and it probably, ended up here. So you can drag and drop these elements. It doesn't always, like if I wanted to move it up, sometimes my page won't let it go all the way up. I have that little red symbol there with a slash through it. I think if I use my arrows, it probably will. Maybe yes, ever so slightly. So just be patient with it, I guess is my advice. And
Wow.
I'm going to see again, there's no undo button. So I have to, let's see, Arial narrow bold caps. I'm going to.
So is there a way to save as? So if, even though we've decided like we're using this template, if we manipulate this particular design, is it going to affect the original template?
No,
Oh,
that
okay.
template will always be there. So as you're building this and you save it as a draft, it will be a draft that you can recall in your campaigns that are under construction for you. That template will always be just that, a template. So as you work within this and save it, it's not going to do anything to the original. One thing I will do, I'm going to get rid of these social media icons here because I don't think, yep, oh no, I'm sorry, they are connected. I didn't think they were connected, so I will leave those. What we do need to make sure we have here is our unsubscribe option. So here's a trick that I like to use, just like what we might use when building a website, is I'm going to open up another tab of YM. And I'm going to look back at what I have sent. And I can pull that up because that unsubscribe option needs to be there. So if I look at my operations update, I can preview, and I need this right here. If we don't have this simple text at the bottom that gives them an option to unsubscribe, YM won't let us send the campaign.
Oh.
Okay.
And this doesn't show up like this when you send it. It's only this yucky text as we're building it. I'm going to copy that and toggle back here. Add this in. And darken this gray so that it matches. That's not it. Oh, maybe that's black text. Here we go. Save and close. Why does that look like it's a different color? Okay, well, good enough for now. So you see here, I'm going to scroll back up. You notice here on the right-hand side of the screen, you have components and you have settings. So your components are the elements that you see within the Connect. So you have a divider. So let's see if I call this out here. This is our divider. Okay. We can change the color of the divider. This is the hard way. I know white is FF. I've used it enough. I say that because some of these components I have not found a way to delete. So if I cannot find a way to delete them, I turn them white and then they disappear. So word to the wise, I have tried to find some workarounds on this. We can change the height of the divider. So if we want it to be thick and 10 pixels, we can make it thicker. 2 is the standard. We can make it 5. You can make that as thick or as thin as you would like to make it. And these margin options here also affect the size. So if we wanted to make that 25, this gives us more space on the top around the divider. We can do the same with the bottom. We could also do the same with the left and to the left and the right of the divider. Now that's not going to impact it as much because it already takes up the width of the template. I'm going to put all of these back down to 15. But we can manipulate that space around the divider and the thickness of it. Our buttons. This is where we can update the text of the buttons. So we can say, click here, and then we can hyperlink. If we're linking them out to something in the resource library, that's fine. They just have to be logged in to be able to access it. But we can definitely hyperlink out to the resource library. And what I would encourage, especially Kathy, as you're using this feature and you're logged into your admin profile, I'm going to minimize this for just a moment so I can see my tabs. I'm going to back out of that preview. And if I want to toggle to my front end view, I can use that as a way to quickly get to the resource library. And then I can hyperlink out to anything here in the resource library that I might want to include in the Connect.
And show me how you went to that again. I don't have it written down. Just watching.
What I did is if I back up to the admin side of YM and you click the drop down next to your name, the view front end as member, that option, that will give you the member view of YM. And then if we go to our quick links and click the drop down, click resource library, and it's going to open up that resource library in a new tab.
Okay.
Back out of that and back up out of this. We'll go back to our campaign. I'm going to save that text. Let's see. So again, with our settings here, we can change the button color. The text color we see is white. We can change the alignment of that text. We can change the width of the button. So if we wanted to do full width, doesn't look as good, but it takes up that whole section. So I would definitely recommend we just use that button width as fit to text. That way it looks cleaner.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how we can edit those buttons between the settings and just editing the text and the link. Save that. Anything we see here in terms of components is what we can add into what already exists in the Connect. Now, since Bonnie created this template for us, I wouldn't necessarily advocate for anything, any components to be added unless there's something that you absolutely want to add that maybe doesn't fit anywhere else, and maybe to make it easy on you both, since this is the first really full version of the Connect that we're launching for this year, I would recommend keeping it simple and working with what's already established, and then we can build on that as we release more issues throughout the year. But this button option is going to add like these, oops, oh my, no undo button, okay. So obviously I can't highlight anything. So our buttons are here, our divider you see here, our container, this entire movable piece here is a container. That's what that is referring to. So it contains the text. We can delete the containers with the trash icon. We can copy the containers with that copy icon. I have not tried to save any containers in my experience so far. I've lost where I was. White space. Oh, come on.
So it's saving as we go, obviously. And
it is not actually. Well, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. As long as you hit save and close, otherwise it will not save as you go along. What you'll want to do before you leave this is click that save and exit button. That will save the draft for you. So it doesn't intuitively save as you work. You have to physically select that save option to make sure that you're saving as you go along.
so that says save and close, and at the bottom it says save and exit. Is that really, it's the same thing, whichever way you want to go?
They're different actually. So the save and close feature, that saves what you're working on in that particular container, that element that's highlighted. So right now our button is highlighted. So if we save and close, then we back out of that container. The save and exit option, that's going to save the entire template that you're working on for this particular campaign. So if I choose this option right now, save and exit, it brings us back to the screen where we can access the design. So what we can do here, we can edit the design. I can show you in this other screen. If we look at all of our campaigns, we also see that this is saved as in draft status. So we have this here for us. We can access it. If we just want to go backtrack one step, we can say, let's continue editing the design. Or if we go all the way, if we log out for the night, hey, we're done, we can go back to our directory in CRM and we go to our under email and newsletters campaigns. We see the campaigns we've sent and the campaigns that are in draft status, and then we can just go back and click edit and continue to edit that campaign that we're working on. I'm going to go back into what we've got. The rest of the components we have here, so we have, if we wanted to add an image, it will bring up this image, this blank image box for us that we can then add, connect an image to. If we want to create a whole new container, it's going to create one of these movable sections for us. If we want to add text, then we can select that option and add a text box inside a container or create a new container that is only text.
So I have a question, sorry.
Go ahead, Lindsay. Yeah, go ahead.
For the image, so when we insert an image, can we do links and like, or does it have to be saved to our computer, or is it all of the above?
So that's a great question. You see here, we have two options. We have a hyperlink option and an image option that also has a link. So if let's address first this image option with the link. We have images saved in our file library for EWI. So if we browse images, it's going to bring up this tool that has stock images we've used in the past for newsletters. There's a lot here that we could pull from, so it can be a little overwhelming. Here we have my logo. We have a different version of our EWI logo. We have the Raise Right logo. These are things that Courtney had saved over time, and she uploaded them to this resource manager. So if you have something that's on your computer, you can upload it here at the bottom, but you'll want to make sure you put it in the right folder. I would just put it in the 22-23 folder that I've got highlighted. So you can drag and drop anything that is saved on your desktop. And then once that's uploaded, what we do is we take this file location, we right click, copy, X out of this, and replace this image link with that hyperlink that goes back to the image we just uploaded. I have not used this hyperlink feature. I anticipate that it would hyperlink out to something that is already on the web.
That makes sense.
So I would recommend using this image link and browsing images and using, again, there's a lot here that you could go through. There's the different icons that we use for social on the Connect. We had in our about, okay, maybe no photos there. Back out of that. We have our speakers database image that we created. We have headshots for the testimonials that we've uploaded to the website. So there's a lot of different photos and icons in here that are saved. You can get lost in these. We've got things for True Blue. We can see that logo. Our webinar headshots that we've created over time for people who are presenting. So again, there's a lot. Oh, you have a little buddy that joined you.
Yes. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Oh. There's a lot of different files that you can go through in here and just see what's there. I don't think you can break anything. If you just want to look through what we've got, if you find anything that you want to reuse, you absolutely can. I would encourage anything new that you want to upload, just plunk it in that 22-23 folder, and it's easily accessible for you. Any questions about this piece?
Sounds good.
Okay. Good call, Kathy, on recording this. This would be a lot. I'm going fast, and I know this would be a lot to recall quickly. Again, with our settings here, we can change how this image shows up. So we have quite a bit of margin around this image. If we wanted to take some away, we can. So that just reduced our margin at the top. If we wanted to reduce margin on the left or right and kind of bring that in tighter, we can do that. So that margin is something you can play with depending on how you want those images to show up. And the great thing about this too that you can do is preview what you've been working on. So this top right preview button is great. You can see in real time, okay, here's how my Connect is going to show up as it stands right now. And that gives you a good gut check to just see overall how that layout's going to look. Now, like see here at the bottom, we've got a double divider, so we can remove one of those dividers. The spacing may not be perfect on the first try. And with everything that we're doing right now, it's fine. I think, you know, I know Lindsay, I know you're not on the corporate board, but I'm sure you are somewhat aware of what Kathy and the board has been taking on behind the scenes in lieu of having a staff member. And I think it's important that we give each other grace. We're getting through it. We're getting through it the best way we can. And that's all we can do right now. So even just getting this out here is a win in my book. So it doesn't have to be perfect.
You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Yes.
Just in case you need to hear it.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We'll take it. We will take it. Let's see, what else is important to call out here? So we have in our settings for our containers, we see that Arial font is already set up for us. We have some information on the page and canvas background color, the text color. I would not change any of those settings. I would leave them as they are. I think that's fine.
Yeah, Bonnie has a really good eye, so we can trust what she puts together.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm not surprised that she was able to put this together, but I'm surprised just like she looks like she knew her way around this pretty well, which I'm impressed with because it has a learning curve to it for sure. If we want to edit text, so within the container, we select this header. This is where we could say, okay, leadership updates 2023, say chapter updates, save and close. There we go. We want to go back and say, I don't like that alignment. Let's put it in the middle. Boom, it's in the middle. The text editing is very simple. That's my favorite part because it's very, very easy to manipulate. Let's see. So we've got our headers, our text, our images, our buttons. I'm going to get rid of Okay, here's one thing I do need to show you that I think is important. And why do we have, I'm just going to white out this divider. There we go. Now there's not two. So if, let's just say that this particular divider, if I have an example, a better example to give you, I would. In the past, for our operations updates, I have copied dividers and placed them in a new container. A container that, like this one, if we look at the settings, oh, it just came out, here we go. If we select the overall container, we see we have two columns. We can manipulate this, we can add a column, we can remove a column. If we try to remove both the columns, we get this message at the top. The rightmost column contains data, it cannot be deleted. So what we would need to do in that situation is delete the content that's on the left side of the screen and drag to the right the content that's on the right, and then we can make one big column.
Okay.
It takes a few tries to be able to do that. At least it took me a few tries to be able to manipulate that. But that was how, if I had a divider that I needed to expand the length of, then I had to manipulate it in a way where I deleted a column in a container, and that allowed me to expand it if it wasn't preset as a divider.
Does it automatically adjust? So whatever, or do you have to keep adjusting everything? You know, like depending how much text we're putting on it or inside the box, the container. If I didn't have very much, would the picture be bigger, or you have to make those adjustments yourself?
So you would have to make those adjustments yourself. Like say, if you wanted this picture to, say we wanted this to take up more space to better align with the text.
Mm-hmm.
No, hold on, that's not what I wanted to do. No. Think of how to make our image bigger, because we have a big image here. Bonnie must have added images with different sizes. So that, let's see, let me think about how I could demonstrate this to you.
Could I copy paste, like remove one and then copy the right size? She's got so many different sizes.
I don't think you can do that in the container. Like if we wanted to, it looks like you can, so you can copy and paste with text only. Okay. So you can do that, but we're not able to copy paste the images within the container, I believe, because that is a separate, it's a separate component. So when we create the image, come on, uh-oh, where did they go? Where did they end up somewhere? Does that look the same as it did before?
I don't
sometimes when these like these like get plopped in here and I can't tell what changed. This is a heading. Okay, it's got large. Okay, I can't tell that anything changed off the top of my head. So I'm gonna leave that alone. And if we wanted to, so we've got two columns. So here's what we might want to do, Kathy, in this situation to fill this white space. Is, okay, so if we want to, let's see if this works. Now, since we pulled that over, we delete a column and there we go. Now it's bigger.
That's awesome.
I'm going to cancel that so you can manipulate that how you want to.
Well, that's good. There was an undo for us.
There we go. Hey, I got it back to how it was. Okay, yes. So I guess there's a little bit of undoing that is able to be done here, but yeah, it's, I remember I had inserted text in that October Connect from Margie, and the text I deleted the text and thought I had deleted the document. I was like, oh my gosh, no, I can't get it back. And luckily I found it and I was able to manipulate it and put it back in, but I was so mad at myself because it took me like an extra 15 minutes. So I hope this doesn't, I hope it doesn't seem as scary as it might look. Again, because Bonnie did create this template for you, she cut out a lot of nasty work, because the worst part for me, that as I've been working in these, is just having that your membership standard template and having to delete this and move this. And so she already took that work out for you. So what you should be able to focus on is just inserting the text, headers, images, and hyperlinks out to any documents. So that should really cut down the time that it would have taken you all to put this together, I think.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what about, like if I need more, you just create more containers and it just keeps dropping down?
Yes. Yep. You'd create more containers. Again, I would advise not to go that route quite yet, at least for this first one. And I only say that because I think that not that I don't want you to try it. I haven't tried it, so you would be in uncharted territory from my level of expertise. But I also think that it could eat up more time for you in getting this out. And I think that's something that when there's more time to play and explore, I think definitely yes, I would encourage you to look at creating more containers. I think for now, I would definitely stick with what you've got on your template.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got 12 minutes left. What else?
You know, on the very front first page, when we were getting ready to go into all this, it had those boxes along the bottom that had like a number, a scrolling number of, I don't know if it was, I think it was with dollars. And I just glanced at that, but I was kind of wanting to do something like that with our social media, the platforms, our followers and our likes and things like that.
Oh,
Can
like this?
Before we transition really quick, can I ask one more thing?
Go for it.
So once we're done, we save and exit, and then how do you send?
Excellent question. So if we go ahead and save this, I would recommend scheduling. That is my ultimate recommendation, schedule. So if you click the schedule button, you can select your delivery date and the time, and all times are in the Eastern time zone. So once you select your delivery date and your delivery time, click schedule and it's all set.
Okay, is there a specific time that we are generally supposed to stick to?
I would say 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Most of our members are in the Central time zone. So I think that's what I've used with the operations updates when I've scheduled them to go out.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Great question, Lindsay.
Thanks.
That's so funny. We'd be all excited. We got it ready to go. And it's like, well, what do we do?
Yes.
I just visualized it happening, and it was just
Yes,
It
that
was
is a
going to.
good call. Yes. Let's see. And you can also send a test to yourself. Now, when Vicki sent out the messaging for the Emerging Executive Women program, she sent the test email to me so I could look at it. You don't have to do that. If you want to, by all means, feel free to do that. I've never done that before, but if you choose to do that, you sure can. Of course, you can preview it. You don't want to save it as a new template. That would override what Bonnie created. So I wouldn't use that option. But preview or send test, you certainly can do that. And I would recommend too, if you want to toggle between, if you want to be logged in twice and go back and forth, I find that helpful sometimes, but it's totally your preference on how you want to do that as you're making changes.
No, I agree. Doing that makes things go significantly faster.
Yeah, I have to see how it looks as I'm going along. All right. What else, ladies?
Do you have a message, a president's message to go out for this one?
I do. I sent that to you, but it's been a minute. So let me see here.
My goodness, I've gotten so many emails lately. I'm sorry I missed that.
No, I'm certain that you have. So I'm going to connect admin. Nope. Oh my. Okay. There we go. Found it. I'm going to forward it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. When does your, Kathy, your email expire?
I don't know. I'm probably in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because we're closing my store rather tomorrow at the end of the day or Thursday at the end of the day, but I'll be there to help clean up and just do any final things, and then I'll go to a new store, and it'll be the same except for instead of 46, it'll probably be hopefully 24 or 33.
I had no idea that your store was closing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, and the whole neighborhood is angry. They even went to the mayor about it. Oh, gosh.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's
that makes more sense behind the email change. I know I hadn't asked, but oh my gosh.
Well, it's an old building and it's time for us to sign a new lease. And our store has put in a lot of CID money, and which is the oh gosh, it's the Community Improvement Development or District, and there's millions of dollars in this fund, and they redid the entire shopping center. Everything is complete except for our building and our parking lot. Everybody even got new parking lots. I mean, it's just a whole makeover. Well, they say they have no money left. And so they won't give us a dime for it. And our building has to be demolished and rebuilt. And so that's going to cost us $15 million to do that. And the landlord's not going to give us a dime. And so now the mayor is saying he might consider it a food desert, which the last store that was built in a food desert got $9 million.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, and they got all that money because the city wanted our store, there. And so they didn't spend the money on us. So that's kind of a bad situation.